Today I have the honor of introducing Lelia, Lala, Tolbert. You know Lala. As the reigning earth goddess, she's made it a point to very visibly promote fun-spirited competitions and general merriment-making around AGS. A good-natured Lala radiates from Lala. Lala's quirky, commanding, confident, and comical. In this respect, she reminds me of any number of characters from Wes Anderson movies. Wes Anderson's films include The Grand Budapest Hotel, The Life Aquatic, The Royal Tenenbaums, Moonrise Kingdom, Fantastic Mr. Fox, and Isle of Dogs. Anderson's films are renowned for meticulous design decisions, including bold use of colors, tailored cultural fashions, and musical selections that perfectly set the mood for every changing scene. Characters in Wes Anderson movies unabashedly march to their own beat, and that's a positive character trait that I also associate with Lala. Take her penchant for rotating swag on her formal school blazer, for example, or her unapologetic adornment in rotating seasonal holiday jewelry. Let's face it, not many people can successfully rock glam, goth, and cool at the same time. Lala's simultaneously whimsical and classical, which reminds me of another Hollywood icon, Audrey Hepburn. Like Lala, Hepburn trained from childhood in ballet. Like Lala, Hepburn's life revolved around dance. Most people don't know this about Hepburn, but when her childhood was interrupted by the throes of World War II, she participated in secret and illegal dance performances that raised money to support Jewish refugees who were fleeing Nazi horrors and the Holocaust. Hepburn suffered from malnutrition during the war, which significantly impacted her muscle development and ended her chances for becoming a prima ballerina. She channeled her love of dance and capacity to entertain her into a career in theater. She was discovered and went on to become one of Hollywood's most iconic leading actresses. Hepburn is famously remembered for her classic look in Breakfast at Tiffany's, and people frequently asked her about her beauty routine. Here are some of Hepburn's beauty tips. For attractive lips, speak words of kindness. For lovely eyes, seek out the good in people. For a slim figure, share food with company. For beautiful hair, let a child run his fingers through its mane. For poise, walk with the knowledge that you will never walk alone. I'd like to leave you with one other piece of advice from Audrey Hepburn. Nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible. I'm personally inspired by the sense that anything is possible with Lala, and I trust that you will be inspired by her senior speech today. Please join me in welcoming Lelia, Lala.
Today, I am 18 years and 9 days old, or young, depending on how you want to see it. I have been alive for 6,574 days, so here's what I've learned. My life is a series of phases. I came to this realization on Friday, July 12th to be exact. I know this because I wrote this speech that night once I got home from dance. But I was sitting in traffic near the exit to Greensville on 75. Windows rolled down, sunglasses on, blasting Impromptus D899 Op 90 111 Andante, one of my favorite classical music pieces. My dance teacher Musashi likes to play it on repeat during our 4-hour ballet classes to really help us get down the right musicality for our 2-hour plie. Instead of listening to Musashi say to me for the 100th time, Lelia, Your look today is completely unprofessional, and I'm going to kick you out of my class. As he simultaneously bangs on the wall, expecting me to memorize the 4-4 ronde en l'air, piqué de passé, de relevé de sous-sous, and hold until the unpredictable future, which I never will be able to. I've learned that if I can just not fidget too much to draw any extra attention to myself, then I can drift off into Lala land and spend as much time there as I want. Usually, by the end of the night, I'm either having an existential crisis or I'm in extreme trouble when Musashi calls on me and I don't know the combination. But on this night, as I drove home on July 12th, it was an existential crisis type of night, and I had this crazy realization hit me that I had gone through exactly 13 phases in my life, all of them occurring while I've been at AGS. But before we get into my 13 phases, I need to be honest about one fact. I did not initially want to come to this school. I cried every night in my room about leaving my friends at Druid Hills mid-semester and how embarrassing it was to go to an all-girls school. But if you were to ask me tomorrow or 80 years from now, I will tell you that my favorite location on earth, according to my AP Human Geography skills, is 33.8 degrees latitude and negative 84.8 degrees longitude. I would, or in other words, the Atlantic School. I would like my ashes to be spread into that field. So I'll save you some time. Boys are great in moderation, but they will mentally never fully understand women. So the boys that make jokes about me going to an all-girls school are really just missing out. It's their loss. So I came to AGS during the second semester of 6th grade. And get this, none of my phases began until that second semester. 6th grade, the prime of my awkward, prepubescent, hormonal teen years as a 13-year-old girl. And what better way to start going through phases than at an all-girls school? Coincidence? I think not. So here they are. The 13 phases of my life. 6th grade was swell water bottles and holidays. 7th grade was Shakespeare. 8th grade was minimalism. 9th grade was Gaga dance and dancing in the yard. 10th grade was short films and murder podcasts. And most importantly, flashlight tag. 11th grade was Elvis. The Enneagram, in which I am a 7, and script writing, and currently I'm really into Candy Crush. These all may seem like amateur passions and activities in which my parents say to me, Lelia, you need to focus on school and not swell bottles. Am I ashamed that I own 5 swell water bottles now being a minimalist? No. Because the phases I went through 6 years ago are what made me into the person I am today. It's the little things that add up to the bigger picture. If I hadn't fallen in love with the idea of owning a lifetime supply of swells, then I wouldn't have written such an amazing speech back when I was 14 years old, gotten over part of my fear of public speaking, or realized that I love to write. This is all thanks to a speech I wrote about a swell bottle back in 7th grade in EDLS class with Miss Yu. I will read an excerpt for you today. Swell. I know you guys think this is an adjective, but it is a perfectly good noun. It all started on a Wednesday back in 2014. I walked in my front door and my whole world stopped. Sitting on my kitchen counter was my gloss golden, perfectly shaped, brand name Swell. I decided from then on that nothing could get in between my Swell and me. Now, I know you all have your water bottles and such, but the Swell keeps my water ice cold for 2 days and warm for 1. It fits into my cup holders and even my AGS jacket. And you can dress it up for the holidays to stop. It became a legacy. When I would walk down the hallway, I would get looks of depression from my peers. This might not seem like much, but without it, my hydration would be incomplete. I thought that this was the best piece of writing I had ever written. I kept a printed copy of the speech in my pocket and would read it to anyone willing to listen. And eventually, word spread enough to the point where almost everyone in my grade at AGS owned a swell. Although I do not own as many swells anymore, I'm a little ashamed to say that I bought a hydro flask, but it was only because I couldn't fit the ice inside of my swell because we got an ice machine. But my point is that although I've gone through weird phases, if I look back, they did help me get to this very moment. They are my own weird phases, and there's something special about having something to call your own. Ironically, despite how often I am kicked out of class, the longest phase I've been going through has been dance. It's been a solid 15 years, and I still can't seem to get enough of it. When I'm dancing, I feel like my complete self. It gives me the space to think, and although some days it does feel like wasted time, when I look back, it's worth way more than anything I could ever want. Dance will always continue to be my constant in life and be there for me on any day of any week. But like my swell phase, other phases will come and go. I'm predicting that by next year, I will have moved on from Candy Crush and onto something like Angry Birds. Unfortunately, flashlight tag ended 6 months ago, but the rest remain pretty constant right now. I love dancing to Elvis in my yard using the Gaga technique. I don't know how my neighbors feel about it, but I do it anyway. I still listen to Shakespeare audiobooks and murder podcasts in the car. I still am a minimalist. Follow my blog at teenslivesimply.com. And I still love holidays. In fact, I specifically chose this date because tomorrow is my favorite day of the year, as you may have noticed, and because I wanted to read my speech as an adult to give you a wiser perspective. As I said before, I have been 18 for 9 days. And at the same time, today, I'm 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 years old, just as Sam Cisneros says it in her short story, 11. I am the same girl I was when I first came to AGS at the age of 13, but with some extra years piled on top to add to my existing passions from before. Each phase that I have gone through came when I needed it. And it was okay to become obsessed with a trend 40 years too late. I mean, look at Elvis and me. We're still going pretty strong. People go through weird phases when they need to. Everything has its time and place. It has taken me years to accept that other people may not have the same passions as me and may not approve of what I like. I get it. Not everyone wants to listen to Elvis or go to the Shakespeare Tavern on their Friday nights. And it's okay when other people say they love Halloween more than me. Good for them. Maybe, to some, me being a minimalist may just seem like a phase. But for me, it has developed into a lifestyle now. If I'm going to live my life, I want to allow myself joy and to fill my time doing things that I love, because the little things that make me happy make up who I am, what I'm known for, and how I perceive the world around me. Take the time to think about the little parts that make up you, however small, those who make you irreplaceable. Thank you.
Must say goodbye. We made